Alrighty, so I just finished watching the replay of the Canada versus South Africa game because this game was taking place when I was working. A great reminder that, despite the fact the World Cup is happening, I still have to work, and basically, there's tough times where I have to basically try to keep up with the action, and have to kind of watch it a little bit later because obviously I'm not allowed to watch the game when I'm working. Well, I say that, but sometimes I do it anyway. I didn't do it this time though. I had to, of course, decided to not watch it at work and basically just watch the replay of it after work. And I gotta say, I was about to put first half of extra time after the end of the sport because I was for sure feeling like this was gonna go to extra time. This was a very frustrating game for if you're a Canadians fan because of the way that it just felt like that goal was never gonna happen. Like they had their moments in this game, they had multiple chances to go up 1-0. In fact, they probably should have been up 1-0 a long time ago. And you just kind of had a sense that the way that this game continued to stay 0-0, we know South Africa has always had that one magical moment or just some one random moment that somehow in some way they get the goal. And that's where a lot of Canadians fans were worried because the longer this was 0-0, the more it really favored South Africa. But alas, a lot of Canadians fans can breathe a huge sigh of relief because in the second minute of stoppage time, an unlikely source scored the winning goal for Canada, and he used to play in LA as well as this game was taking place in LA. But in the first half, Canada was on the front foot. They were definitely doing their usual press, but they got to be careful because one thing that South Africa has been very dangerous this tournament is that they are very good when it comes to the transitional moment. You don't want to press the ball and then give the ball away in a bad spot, and next thing you know, South Africa is going to go direct and they're going to go the other way to trying to catch Canada off guard after the press. No, with the first shot of the game, but it was spilled by Crepeau there, and it was gathered. Yeah, Crepeau. It's safe to say that he was still not confident after the game that he had against Switzerland, which yeah, that was not a great game for him. And something tells me that if it was any other team, he's gonna definitely be more tested, and especially as we'll talk about the next opponent that Canada might have to face. Yeah, something tells me he's gonna be tested more of the next opponent that Canada might get to face in the round of 16. Istakio then puts it over from long range as that was Canada first shot in the 7 minute. The shots were only one apiece. 15 minutes in, it feels like both of these teams was kind of setting things in. We're gonna see a lot of this in the knockout football like this. You're gonna have some settle period. You're gonna have some just feeling out period. You don't want to go gun ho for minute one, and then if you concede it, now you're just chasing shadow. But there was no doubt that Canada has been the better team, but the final third was not good enough for them. I mean, they were not being clean in the final third, and that was kind of the theme throughout this game, despite the chances that they created, where they probably could have created more chances if they were a little bit more cleaner in the final third. David would then puts it wide from close in the 17th minute before Cornelius missed a free header from the free kick delivery, and yeah, that is one that Derek Cornelius and Canada would want to have back because that was a glorious chance. Cornelius find himself in a great spot there, and with the fact that we know he's a guy that can hit one from the header, that is definitely one that you expect him to at least put it on target or at least try to meet it, but he couldn't quite meet it there, and instead then it was a big wasted opportunity for Canada. Ole Shahi then hits it right to Williams before Ole Shahi would hits it high from the corner. This was very surprising seeing Tani's name in the start 11. I was not expecting that since he hasn't started since game number one, and he hasn't really looked that good so far in this tournament. I'm pretty sure the Canadian fans are probably absolutely incensed the fact that they didn't see Kyle Larin in the starting 11, even though Kyle Larin has had his struggles so far in this tournament. At least Larin has been able to put the ball in the back of net. Tani has quite do so this. So this was kind of a little bit of a head scratching decision to put Oluwaseyi in that number nine position alongside with Jonathan David. But there was no doubt that Canada continued to press late to try to get the opener. Bombito then had a shot that was clear off the line, but then Buchanan had a chance here on the rebound, and somehow in some way he got absolutely robbed by Williams. I mean that is just a crazy sequence of play where Canada had multiple chances to get the opening goal. And in many ways, that moment kind of sums up the game for Canada for most part of this. It just was not going in for this team. And this game feels very similar to what we saw in the opener against Bosnia, where they had so many chances against their opposition, but they're not being clinical in terms of their finishing, and in many ways, it was kind of a little bit similar to the game against Switzerland as well, where they had their moments as well in that game, but just not able to put away. Have they actually put away those chances, and especially even against Bosnia as well? I don't think they would be playing South Africa in the first game. They probably would have been playing against Algeria in front of their home crowd, and you know, I know Algeria is no slot, but they're about the same quality. If not Algeria, maybe it's just a little bit tougher because they do have some quality compared to South Africa. Yeah, they really kind of lucked their way in to this spot. I'm not gonna lie, but you know, in front of the home crowd, that would have definitely made it maybe a little bit easier for them than have to really dig deep in this game to finally get the win. But we do head to halftime, somehow still scoreless, despite the fact that Canada had multiple chances to make it 1-0. In the second half, Miller would then puts it high from long range. Canada once again on the front foot, but again, can they finally got the breakthrough? They still haven't been able to do so, and it kind of doesn't help the fact that they started to become problematic in the final third again. It was a problem early in this game where they were just taking way too much touches in the final third. This is also kind of something that I've seen in this tournament where there's been times where teams just take way too much touches in the final third, almost like players are just too hesitant to shoot. Like I don't understand why players are always too hesitant to shoot, especially when the ball comes in the box. I don't know why there's a lot of players had to take that touch in the box. There's not going to be any benefit. You're not going to be able to find a good attempt because there's always going to be a defender that's going to be near to touch that. And I know first time finish is always not easy to do so, but there's been many times where if you take an extra touch, more times than not, the chances are gone compared to if you just take it get first time or and play quickly. And yeah, this is kind of a common theme I've seen in most of this tournament, not just in this game itself. And it kind of makes me absolutely but befuddle of why that is the case. But that being said, you know, as I said, they Canada was kind of doing the same thing, and also they were misplacing passes. The passing was not good for Canada in the final third. I mean, you could argue it was great defending from South Africa, and maybe they close down those space and those passing lanes as well. But there's times where if they could just place the pass a little bit better, they would have actually broke through the South Africa team. And it also doesn't help that again taking way too much touches in the final third. They were just kind of slowing things up in the final third. And when you slow things up in the final third and don't play it quickly, that's when you're definitely just playing right into the low block that South Africa was putting in this game. Apollo would then puts it wide from close, as that was a rare opportunity for South Africa. It was a long time since South Africa actually had an attempt. Miller was in on goal there, but his shot was denied by Williams. But it was actually goal found there, and somehow, in some way, the Chicago Fire defender Bakazi able to clear that one off the line. He's been big in this World Cup for South Africa, and something tells me he's probably going to continue that with the Fire. And if you're a Fire fan, that's got to put a smile on your face, knowing the fact that your big name defender is doing well in the World Cup, and maybe that can carry into to the rest of the season for the Fire as well. They need him to be good. He's been one of the big reasons why the Fire has been doing so much better defensively compared to last season. But you also kind of sense the is it going to happen for Canada? There's starting to become frustration again, where no matter what they do, they just cannot get that breakthrough. It just feels like they just can't buy one right now. And despite under siege, again, I feel like the longer this say 0-0, this is gonna play right into South Africa hand. South Africa know throughout this tournament they're gonna suffer. There's gonna be a lot of times where they are going to be on the back foot, but they have shown before where they always find a way to get that goal out of nowhere. We saw it against Czechia as well, where they were dominated by Czechia, but somehow found a chance to get a penalty and able to get the equalizer. And then the same with South Africa, or not South Africa, South Korea as well, where you know they were kind of dominated by South Korea, but they found that one moment of magic, and that was all it took for them to get to the stage where they are right now. And you just fear for Canada, is that one moment going to happen for South Africa, where now all of a sudden they're down 1-0. David Forley's would then head to say why from the corner in the 66th minute before Promise Davis missed just wide from long range. And if he would have scored, that would have been around the same time that he scored the last goal against Switzerland in the last game as well. Williams then denied Jonathan David from close in the 78th minute. Canada continued to get even more desperate, trying to finally get that one goal. Apalis would then hits one right to Crepeau. And like I said, I was ready to say, yep, this is going to go to extra time. We're going to have 30 minutes more of soccer. It's kind of ironic the fact that the first game of this knockout stage, and we got more bonus soccer as well. However, in the second minute of stoppage time, breakthrough finally happened. And as I said, it's kind of comes on in an unlikely source. You usually don't see Steven Estacio score goals, but if he does score a goal, it's a banger as well. I don't know if he actually have scored for LAFC this season as well, and he might have not. But what's important is that he scored here for Canada, just an absolute banger from long range to give Canada a 1-0 lead, and you can instantly hear not only the huge celebration by the Canadian bench and their fans, but just a sigh of relief because it just feels like this was never going to happen for Canada in this one. They just need that one magical moment, and yeah, in a game where they miss a lot of big chances. Sometimes it's the chance that is the least likeliest one to go in ends up in the back of the net, and you just take that at the end of the day. As Canada gets the 1-0 win in this one, they're moving on to face either Morocco and Netherlands. Both of those teams are probably going to be heavy favorites against Canada as well. And that if you're Canada, I just feel like if you have any shot of beating either Morocco or Netherlands, you have to be better when it comes to your finishing. You know you're not going to get as much chances in that game than you have here in South Africa, and this is where I'm also kind of concerned about the defense as well. Though it's important that Moses Bombito did play in this one. I'm not sure did he actually go the full 90 minutes in this one, and that's huge for Canada because Bombito has been such a huge presence for this Canadian side, and he's been very locked down defensively. They would definitely need him in that game either against Morocco and the Netherlands, even if he's not going to be 100% healthy. It's definitely, well, at least provide much more cover than the defense that they have, because the current defense that they had, I mean, they didn't get tested by South Africa a lot in this one. It's going to be different, and this is also where I am concerned about the goalkeeping situation as well. I mean, Crepeau, yes, he did keep a clean sheet, but he wasn't really tested, and when he was tested in that first attempt, he spilled that one. If he does that again, Morocco and the Netherlands, yeah, that's going to be punished more times or not. So yeah, again for Canada, great that they of course got the win and continue to make history. But something tells me that after this performance, it feels like the next round is probably going to be the end of the road for them, either against Morocco or the Netherlands. But you never know. This is the World Cup, and that when we get to the knockout stage, as I always say, expect the unexpected. So maybe this might be the beginning of Canada's incredible deep run, and a very unexpected deep run that is. And hey, not every single unexpected deep run means that it's pretty. And I always say that when it comes to knockout football and knockout soccer, it doesn't matter how pretty it has to be. It doesn't matter if it's an ugly win. It doesn't matter you kind of stole one right at the end. A win in the playoffs, or in this case in a knockout round, is a win. It's all about surviving events. And survive, and they were able to advance, and they live another day, and now they're hoping that this will be giving them some momentum and maybe some confidence heading into the next round, where, like I said, they definitely will not only need to be at their best either against Morocco or the Netherlands, but they definitely need to be better when it comes to their finishing against the Netherlands or Morocco, because when they are going to get the chances from both of those teams, they got to bury it, because if they don't, they're probably not going to win that one against the Netherlands or Morocco. But in terms of shots of this one, 14 shots for the 6 that South Africa has, 2 shots on goal for the 7 that Canada has, 6 shots off target for the 3 that South Africa has. Both teams had 1 shot to block, and possession-wise, 58% possession compared to 42% possession that Canada has in this game. But yeah, either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. It's kind of weird that this is the only game today. I mean, the scheduling has been really odd lately, but at least tomorrow we got three more round of 32 game. We're kind of start to be back in that part where, because there's so many round of 32 games, you're gonna have like 3 games pretty much almost every single day, and then we're gonna get to the latter round where we're back to just kind of having one game, and even on Sunday there's no game at all, because players need to be rested. Which again, that kind of makes me wonder if you decided to have players needs to be rest for some of their knockout stage game. Why not just push this game into tomorrow and push it shit on any day? Why don't you just have this one game? Because again, I'm pretty sure not a lot of people were that excited to see Canada versus South Africa as your first knockout matchup. That feels like a very underwhelming kind of matchup to kick off the business end of the World Cup in the knockout stage. But the good news is it's gonna get better tomorrow as well. Tomorrow we got that big heavyweight matchup between Brazil and Japan, and I gotta say I'm a little nervous about that one, not just because I am rooting for Japan. They're one of my four teams that I said before the World Cup that I'm rooting hard for, but it's just the fact that I did pick Japan to go all the way to the semi. You know how much I'm not good with prediction, and maybe I'm just jinxing a team. And this is why, if you are a Dutch fan watching my video yesterday, I apologize to all the Dutch fans that I've just jinxed their team and watch out somehow in some way they get knocked out in the first round against Morocco. That is, but hey, we'll see what happens. Matchup is going to be much more entertaining, and as I said, there's going to be some very delicious kind of matchup in the round of 32 in the upcoming days, and some matchup that, as I said before, it's hard to believe these are the round of 32 matchup. This could have easily been a quarterfinal, even a semifinal matchup, but we'll see how it's going to go in the upcoming days. Especially, we're now in the countdown for that U.S. Game when they play against Boston in just a couple of days here in my area, yeah, here in the Bay Area. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.